Right. So last week we talked about how this cell references can fix as an absolute one. So where a particular cell is not going to change when we are going to copy that, right? So far what we have done is we have sent, or like we have learned how to write a formula using the cell references, right? So as you can see it in this picture as well. So here they have wrote a formula using a cell references, right? So in case if this particular cell references are big in amount to be referred, it will be little bit uncomfortable, or maybe it will take more time for us to write a particular formula, or actually when it comes to the equation, it will be take a very big time for us to write. Now think about that you are having some values for 100 rows. If you want to take the addition of those 100 rows, we have to write this kind of formula using 100 cell references. Cell references C1 A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus, likewise you have to write it on until A100, right? Which is not very practical and which is time consuming, right? So in these type of problematic situations, Excel has given us a very great help by introducing the functions, right? Now, when it comes to the functions, there is a similarity in between these functions and formulas, right? So both functions and formulas or equations start with the equal sign. Now, as you can remember, the formulas that we have written, they start with the equal sign. So in the very same way, function is going to use equal sign to get started. The big difference in between the functions and the formulas is that the formulas does not have any name, right? Formulas, they don't have any name. It is just equal sign, some cell references, and some operators in between, right? So when it comes to the functions, function has some specific names for them, like sum, average, max, min, count. Likewise, it has a name, right? So the similarity in between function and formulas, both are starting using an equal sign. The difference in between function and formulas, the major difference, is that the formula does not contain a name, but the function does, right? And again, there are huge list of functions in the Excel. I'll show you those, right? You can see like hundreds of formulas in the Excel that we get to use, right? But in our syllabus, we are just focusing on these 5 formulas that you can see on this table, which is named as sum, average, max, min, and count. And when it comes to the functions, all you need to remember is what is the purpose of this function, or like why we are using this kind of a function, then how to use that function, right? Those are the only 2 things that you need to remember: why we are using it and how to use it, right? So the purpose, or like the answer for the why we are using these functions, it is very easy for us to remember, right? Because the name of the function illustrates what it is. Right? So sum function, we use that to take a summation or like addition, right, of some values. Average, it is used to calculate the average of a particular values, right? Can be some set of numbers, right? And max and min, max is used to find the maximum value out of a number series, and min is used to find the minimum value out of number series. And the count, that is a special function. Like I'm saying it is special comparing to the above four functions. The sum, average, max, min, those are working with some calculation. Count function is interacting, or like is considering about number of items, or like rather number of values, right? And be sure to remember, count is only used to count number of values, right? Now when it comes to the Excel, there are three types of things that we have learned which we can use inside the Excel. One thing is the label, which is left aligned things, right? Like the text or a combination of text and values, right? Those are called labels, right? Labels are not considered as values, which means count will not count the labels. Instead of that, count is going to count the values. What are the values? The numbers itself, the dates, time, fractions, scientific representations, like that particular different kinds of formats that we learn. Those kind of things can be counted by the count function, right? So label ganan karanne naha, values තියෙන තැන් විතරයි count එකෙන් ගණන් කරන්නේ, right? Okay, so to understand how this function is going to work, I'm going to show you a practical, then you can have a clear idea about that, right? So let's move to the place that we are going to do the practicals, right? Yeah. I'm pausing the recording for a moment. Hold on. Right, so to clear things about the functions, I have used the same example that we have used to define about the formulas, right? As you can remember, we have used this formula earlier, right? This example earlier, and we wrote some formulas over here, right? So here we have wrote like equal B12 plus C12 plus D12 plus E12 to have the addition of these four. Earlier we got only 3 columns, math, science, and ICT. Here I have add another column called English. So I am taking the value, the total of these 4 marks of someone over here using a formula. Right, so it is easy, right? Equal B12 plus C12 plus D12 plus E12. That's what I said. Now I can take the same answer using a function without writing this formula as lengthier as we wrote, right? So to find or to use a formula, I'm going to use the equal sign, then I'm going to type the name of the function. And as you can see, just after I type a particular letter, there is a menu is given to us, a drop down is given to us, which contains many different number of formulas. Now these are the formulas that the Excel is having just by starting from letter S. So if I type letter A, it's going to give me the functions which are starting by letter A, right? So for B, there is a similar kind of a list. So as you can see, I have told you, Excel contains a very big list of functions, right? And from those, we are just learning about 6 different functions, right? Rather 5, right? So where can we find these functions? Now, if we really know the name of the function, we can just type the function. If we don't know about a name of a function, what we can do is there are many different places that we can find the functions, right? So one place is in the home tab, right, or the home ribbon. If you move to your very right, you can find a group called editing. So in that, there is this symbol called sigma. This particular symbol is called sigma. On the arrow, which is staying at the right side of it, once I click that, you can see our functions listing down: sum, average, count numbers, max, min, and there is something called more functions. So we are going to learn about these things. But if you click on the more functions, you can see a little window, something like this. And in that window, as you can see here, it is illustrating the different kinds of functions inside the Excel. So the list is very big. Now these are the function which is starting from A. So I'm scrolling down. Here it comes the B functions, the C functions, the functions which are starting from D, E, F, G, H. Likewise, it's a very huge, very lengthy list, right? So out of these functions, we are just using just 5 functions, which is sum, average, max, min, and count, right? As well as we can find the same particular functions if you go to the formula tab in your Excel. So inside that, you are having, at your very left corner, you are having a command called insert functions. Once I click on that, it gives me the same window, which has the list of functions. And sigma mark is also there, as it illustrated earlier. Once I click on this arrow, it shows us sum, average, count, max, min, and more functions is there, right? And here are some categories regarding the functions. So this gives recently used functions. This gives us the functions which are relating to the financial sector, logical functions. There are many different kinds, right? So likewise, we can make use of function from different places on the Excel sheet. But since we have only 5 functions in our syllabus to learn, so we just remember, or we just memorize the things what we are going to learn, right? Or what we are studying. So now in our case, we are going to use a function to take the total of these 4 numbers or these 4 marks. So it is very easy for us to write it. We can use equal, then sum. It is the function that we are going to use. And remember, I told you, functions start with an equal sign, then the proper name should be given, which indicates the function name. Then there is a special thing that we have to do. You have to open a bracket. And this bracket can be typed using the bracket character, the key which contains the bracket character, or you can just press the tab key on your keyboard, so it will give you a bracket. And when I open a bracket, I can see a tooltip, or actually a formula description like under it, right? Can you see that? Sum function, this has number 1, comma, number 2 kind of things. So this means, or like this is giving us some idea about the function, how this function can be used, right? So we are going to learn what are the different ways that we can use this function, right? Okay, we got a question, I think. Yes, Bihan, you have to refer the recording, right? So we have talked about the functions so far, right? Yeah, so like To start a function, what we can do is we can put an equal sign, then we are writing the name of the function, then we start the brackets. Then what we are going to do is we are going to give the cell references of the function, or like of cell references which need to get the sum from this function, right? So our purpose is taking the total of some values, and we need to say where are these values are located in, right? So in our case, our values are here, right? It's like B12, C12, D12, and E12. So since these values are adjacent to each other, staying closer to each other, එක ළඟ තියෙන values ටික නිසා, we can give a particular cell range inside the sum function, right? So now remember, inside a function, we are not using any kind of operators, people, right? Plus marks, minus marks, multiplication marks, we can use that. But then there is no use of the function if the operators are being used, because function is there to do the operators work, right? Plus, minus, addition, subtraction කියලා අපි ඉගෙන ගත්ත ඒ operators ටිකේ වැඩ ටික කරන්න තමයි function එක ඉන්නේ. So for a function, we are just giving what are the references, what are the values. So from the function that we are using, it says, okay, the values are given, so you do your work, right? So when it comes to the sum function, it says if the values are given, so take the total of those values. So how we are going to refer the values? We can refer it in many different ways. Since these values are staying closer to each other, right, one after the other, we can illustrate this as a range. So how we are going to illustrate a range? We have talked about earlier how to illustrate a range. So regarding the Saman, he has 4 marks for maths, for science, for IT, and for English. So the marks range is starting from B12 and it goes up to E12. That means the marks of the English. So I have to say the range is from B12 to E12. So to indicate 2 words, I'm going to use the colon. Then I have to say the ending cell reference. So B12 colon E12. That gives us the range, and I can close the bracket. Once I press enter, I'm going to have the value called 130. Right? So the same result as I got here. So you can see here the formula is a little bit lengthier, but here the function is shorter, right? And think about, you need to have the addition of 10 different subjects. So your formula is going to be like what? Equal B12 plus C12 plus D12 plus E12 plus F12 plus, likewise it's going to go. But when it comes to the functions, it is just B12 colon, the ending cell can be given. So we are going to have the same answer. Okay, people, is that clear? How to use the sum function, right? We need to use the equal sign. We need to use the name of the function. Then within brackets, we have to tell what kind of cells that we are going to use. Okay, very good. Right. And this is not the only way that we can use a function, right? There are several different ways that we can use, right? Now I'm going to show you what are those ways, right? To do that, I'm going to use these cells, right? Even though this contains average, I'll just erase it for a moment. Now I can take the same answer, 130, using the sum function by writing it in a different manner. What is this different manner? We can write it like this as well. Equals sum. I'm going to give you the cell references by separating them by a comma, right? So I'm going to tell B12, comma, C12, comma, D12, comma, E12, right? So I haven't used any plus operator inside this. I just separate them by a comma, and I'm just saying, okay, you need to take the sum of these 4 cells, right? So if I close the bracket and press enter, it's going to give me the same answer. Now this method is very helpful when you are having the cell references here and there, right? එක තැන්වල දැන් මට ඕනනම් B12 වල එකතුව C14 එක අරගෙන ඊළඟට D11 එක අරගෙන right, likewise මට යන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් E15 අරගන්න ඕන. So those are not adjacent to each other, right? It's just here and there, it's scattered away. So we can't use a range. If we use a range, unwanted values will be taken into that particular range. So instead of that, we can give this kind of a separation by using the comma and the cell references. So then it will take those referred cells total amount, right? So it is a one way of doing it, right? So let me change the values. Okay, I can take a meaningful answer, right? So it gives me the same answer. And again, I can use the sum function in this manner as well. Equal sum. I'm going to give some particular range, right? D12, I'm sorry, not B12 colon D12, right? Yeah, instead of D12, I'm going to give you C12, right? C12. So that means 2 of my cells are being referred as a range. Later, I am going to refer the other 2 cells by separating a comma. I'm going to say D12, comma, E12, right? You can use this nature as well. That means if a particular values are staying closer to each other, then you can use it as a range. Then after, with that range, you can tell to add some other cells which are not closer to each other. මෙතනදී නම් අපිට කට්ටිය එක ළඟ තියෙන්නේ කියලා ගන්න. දැන් උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපිට ඕන B and B12 C12 වල ඉන්න දෙන්නත් එක්ක D14 80 කියන value එකයි E13 40 කියන value එකයි අරගන්න නම්, so this is the better way, right? So we can have the reference on this particular manner as well. If I press plus, if I press enter, it's going to give me the same value. Tedara, when we use a comma, it indicates a separate value. Range එකක් දෙනකොට range එක එක පාටෙන් ගන්නවා. තනින් තන දෙනකොට ඒගොල්ලෝ එක එක පාටවල වලින් ගන්න. ඒක අපිට අපේ illustrate එක අපිට තේරුම් ගන්න ලේසි වෙන්න පුතේ. Right? So it is very easy for us to understand. Okay, these are the things that they have used. Right? Okay, then there is another way. Right? So what are the 3 ways that we have used? We have given the range like as a range only. Right? We have given the cell references separated by a comma as 4 separate cells. And we have given a range and the individual cells separated by a comma. And we can give 2 types of ranges as well, right? Like I can say B12 colon C12, comma, D12 colon E12, right? So two separate ranges. We can give that as well. So the ranges will be separated by a comma. B12 indala C12 තියෙන range එක A range එකයි D12 indala E12 තියෙන range එක. Then if we have some particular cells, some particular values separately in different ranges, we can use this, right? So if we use that, it's going to give us the same answer, right? So these are the 4 different ways that we can find or that we can use the sum function. I'll show those function in the show form using show formula facility. So here it goes, right? Now this gives you a very clear picture about the function and formulas. So look at the formula. That is something we have learned earlier. So it says equal B12 plus C12 plus D12 plus E12, right? And then these are the ways that we have used sum function in 4 different ways. Here we only use the range. Here we only use the separate cell references. Here we use a mixture of the range and the individual cell references. Here we use 2 separate ranges, right? So you better remember there are ways that we can write in these particular formats. Okay, people, is that clear? Can I have the confirmation? Okay, right. Great. Okay, I'm going to show you the other functions as well as how they are going to work after we get like note down the note. All right, so let's go and quickly note this down, right? Now, first of all, I want you to write this use of function to do calculations, the heading, and I want you to copy these 2 lines. And I need to write this as well, but at the beginning of that, you have to use the following word. Let me. Yeah, it's better you write it like this. Following are some basic functions which are some of basic functions which are commonly used. Yeah. Right, don't write this let us learn thing. Instead of that, you have to write following are some of basic functions which are commonly used. Then don't draw the table. I'll tell you how to draw the table, right? So first of all, finish this up and let me know when you are done. Okay, one is done. How about others? All right, is there anyone still copying this? Or else we can go for the table. Okay, Dihan, hurry up. And people who have done with this, draw a table which has 3 columns. So first column will be the name of function. Second column will be the use, not the syntax. Second column is going to be the use. Third column, I'm going to draw it for you. Okay, Dihan, are we done? Right. All right, so this is the way that you are going to do this. Let me clarify it to you. Yeah. Have more room. Sorry for that, people. Right, let's write it like this. Yeah, so what I need you to do is, this is going to be your first column, and this is going to be your second column, right? And third column, I'm going to draw it for you. Right, so make these two as your first and second columns. So third column, the header is the examples, right? I'm going to write the examples right over here. And for the first row, I'm writing 4 examples. And for the next rows, I'm just going to write an individual example. Why 4 examples are there in the first row? Because I need you to show what are the 4 different ways that we can write a particular function, right? So then for the other rows, just 1 different examples, right? So here I'm going to wrote this for you so you can complete, right? So this is going to be equal sum A1 colon B3. Let's make it B4. B4. Then the second type is equal sum A1 comma B4 comma C6. Third type is sum equal sum A1 colon B3 comma C6. Let me take some different value over here, C7. So the last one, it is sum equal sum A1 colon B4 comma C2 colon D6. It's a little bit lengthier one, right? Yes, Ranuja, it's like this. what Ranuji is asking, do we need to write the name of the functions in capital? In marking scheme, they are giving you the marks regardless of the case, whether that is in capitals or simples, but it's better you learn or better you practice it from capital, because Excel is showing the things in capital, right? So cell references, function names, it's better you put it in capital, right? There is no rule to write like that, but it's better you practice it. It's a good practice to do so, right? So Lamai, this is the content of the first row of your table, right? So the contents of the second, third, and fourth, and fifth, I'm going to write it over here, right? මෙතන මම ලියන්නේ ඒක ඔයගලන්ගේ third එකේ තියෙන ඉතිරි ටික කියලා අරගන්න, right? So here I'm writing equal average A1 colon C3 equal max A2 colon B4 comma C7 equal min A1 colon C3 comma B4 colon D1 here equal count A4 colon D7, right? Now these things of course will be the latter part of this, right? Yes, Chanuru, you have to write all 4 examples of sum. So this is going to be your first column. This is going to be your second column, and this is going to be your third column, right? So your first row, it is a little bit higher than the other, it will be taller than the other columns, other rows, I'm sorry. So rest of the rows are same. Let me know when you are done, people. Shanuri, which one you are referring to, Dua? Like the example in the count? Is it the example in the count? In some, yeah, Dua, that is a one way of writing it, Dua. A1 colon B4, it is a one particular range. So comma, then another range, C2 colon D6, like we did in the fourth way. මෙතන කරේ දුව මේ මෙතන අපි කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Right? So the same I have written there. Okay, 2 are done. How about others? Right. Okay. Is there anyone still writing this? You need to write the things like in the third column. You have to write only the things which is in red color. Okay, Vatila. Okay, hurry up. Okay, so anyone who is still writing, we are going to move. All right. Okay, so let's go and do the examples, right? So I'm going to show you those things from the Excel, right? So you can see it is very easy for us to handle with the functions. You will see that. So here we go. All right, so I'm going to close the formula view. So it will only show you the things, and I'm going to get rid of this as well. So here I'm going to use the average. Right, moving into here. Okay, so our need is, we have some borders over here, so it will be much clearer for you. Yeah. So our need is to take the average to this particular green color cell. Before that, now since I'm having the total using the sum function over here, how I'm going to have the sum for these two cells? What is the way I'm going to have this sum for these two cells? Yes, any suggestions, people? How I'm going to have that? Ranima, yes, we can copy. Yes, very good. We can copy it down. Yeah. Ranuja, feed letters in the simple to the Excel can. Yes, Ranuja. It doesn't matter. In Excel, when we are writing something, if we feed it in the simples, it will automatically convert into the capitals when it comes to the functions, right? Yeah. Now, either we can write this again and again using the sum function, right? So, but without writing it, we just copy this particular formula to these two things using the fill handle, right? Now see, in here, you got some B12 colon E12. Here you got some B13 colon E13. So what kind of reference happens here? We learn about two types of references: absolute cell reference, relative cell reference. What kind of cell reference happens here when we are copying the things? Very good, Binadi. It is the relative cell reference, right? Yes, yes. Tedara, what you have said is clearly the correct one, right? So this happens as the relative cell reference. So I can do the same thing to the next cell as well, right? So it's relatively copied. In case if we need to absolute something, you know how to do it. Just put the dollar mark to the left of the component, right? Okay, now I need the average to this particular cell, which is H12. Send me the function, people. What is the answer? You can chat me the things. What should be the answer? Yes, what should be the answer? Yes, Binadi. Very good, very good. That's the answer. Yes. Tedara, correct answer. That is correct. Yes, how about others? Yes, Ranima. Yes, that is correct. Very good. Very good. How about others? Pramod, yes, that's the correct answer. Yes. Okay. All right. So what is going to be? It is equal average. In Upama, it's not going to be the sum doer, right? It's going to be the average, since we are calculating the average, right? So equals average, then what should be the range? B12 to E12. Now, without typing that, I can even select the range as well. Look at this. Now I'm going to the B12. This is my B12. Now you can see I have typed equal average and I have opened a particular bracket. Then I'm going to click over here. See, once I'm selecting this, it is already like automatically getting the range of my selection, right? I just select this from here to here. So it takes B12 colon E12, right? So then I close this and press enter. So here it gives me the answer. So if I need to have the average for other things, I only need to copy this down, right? Simple as that. So if I double click on this, here it has equal average B13 to E13 over here. And the rest, the next one, equal average B14 colon E14. Simple as that. Okay, people, I want to take the total of all these 12 numbers over here to the cell F15. What should be the function? What should be the function? All these 12 values. What should be the function? Yes. Very good, Ranima. Very good. Binadi, yes, that's the answer. Very good. Dilni, yes, that is the answer. Very good. Very good. Tedhara, yes. Anjana, yes. Very good. That is the answer. Right? So since we are like referring a very big range, so it is easy for us to write equal sum. And here I am selecting the things. So my range is B12 colon E14. B12 is this cell. E14 is this cell. So I'm selecting from there to here. So my answer is equal sum B12 colon E14. Right? Very good. Okay, I need to have the sum of this range as well as this range. What should be my formula? Yes, what should be my formula? I'm sorry, formula, not the formula, function. What should be my function? Yes, Tedara, that is correct. Ranima? Ranima, it should be E13. Hold on, Ranima. There is a problem in your one. It's C12 colon C14, comma E12 colon E14. Right? Should be like that. Dilni, your answer is correct. Binadi, it should be the E12 colon E14, right? Not E13. And this is Rusira. Your one is also correct, Pudha. Rusira, Pramod. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Anjana, that's the correct answer. Very good. Litira. පුතේ කලින් එකට F12 colon F14 එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ ලිතිර. අපි ඉල්ලුවේ range එකක් නේ පුතේ. අපි ඉල්ලුවේ කලින් එකේදී අපි ඉල්ලුවේ ඉන්න මම එතනට එන්නම්. Promote, your answer is correct. Right? කලින් අපි ඉල්ලුවේ පුතේ මෙතන ඉඳලා මෙතනටමනේ. ඒතකොට පටන් ගන්නෙ B12 වලින්. ඉවර වෙන්නේ E14 වලින්. ඔයා කියන්නේ මේ ටිකේ එකතුව. ඔව්. කියන්නේ mathematically උත්තරේ හරි. නමුත් මම ඉල්ලුවේ මේ range එක එකතුව මට අරන් දෙන්න කියලා. එතකොට ඔයා මේ range එක refer කරගන්න ඕන. විභාගෙදී ඔයාට කිව්වොත් ළමුන් සියලු දෙනාගේම ලකුණු calculate the total amount of all the marks කියලා. What you are saying is correct. Right? No problem. Okay, I was asking what is the answer for this, the addition of these two ranges, right? So you can easily say equals C12 colon C14, comma, I can select this easily, E12 colon E14, right? I'm sorry, I have missed my function name. Right, this should be sum and this range C12 colon C14, comma E12 colon E14. Yeah, right. Okay, if I want to have the total of these numbers, look at my selections. Yeah, what should be the function? What should be the function? Dihan sum කියන එකේ තේරුම පුතේ එකතුව කියන එක. Addition කියන එකේම තේරුම තමයි. Yes, Binadi, that is correct. Oh, hold on. Yes. Right. Never mind. That is correct. Tedara, yes, it is correct. Very good. Rannima, yeah. Some have disregarded the E4, E13 thing. Anyway, සමහර අය අලු පාටින් highlight වෙලා තියෙන තුන් දෙනාගේ විතරයි එකතු අරන් තියෙන්නේ. ඇත්තටම highlight වෙලා තියෙන ටික විතරක් නිසා සමහර අය මගේ selected lastly selected cell එකත් අරගෙන තියෙනවා. No problem. So the references should be separated by a comma. Right? So it should be ඒ කියන්නේ මම ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ තුන නම් consider කරලා තියෙන්නේ. It should be C12, B12, C12, D. I'm sorry, B12, C13, D14. If you have considered all four with the active cell, it should be B12, C13, D14, E13. Right? So anyway, I'm going to write equal sum. These are the cells that I am referring to. This and this. And this, when you are selecting the cells here and there, you have to use the control key. Otherwise, the selection will not happen. Mouse එක විතරක් click කරොත්. So click this and use the control key and select the other one. Then pressing the control key, select everything. Right? Then you can put the bracket and press enter. Right? Very good. You people are having a very good idea about how the things are going to change. Okay. Right, people. Now what I want is, I want the highest mark of the maths. What should be my function? What should I use? Highest, to find the highest marks for the maths. Yes, to find the highest mark. Binadi, very good. That's the answer. Ranima, very good. That's the answer. Dilni, Tedara, correct. Right, very good. Metula, yes, that is the answer. Anjana, yes. Anjana, hold on. I think your range is a problem, Puda. Maths neone. Maths අදාළ column එකේ තියෙන 10 30 60 කියන cells තුන. Ranuja, that is correct. Pramod, that is correct. Rusira, I think there is a print typing mistake. Tisat, that is correct. Right? Okay, what should be the answer? So it's equal, it's the max function that we are going to use, and my range is from B12 to B14. Malindu, there is a problem, right? Not B11, Puta, B12. Yes, Inupama, yes, that is also correct. You can easily say B12 colon B14, or you can say B12 colon B13 colon B14, or you can say B12 colon B13 comma B14. It doesn't matter. Everything is going to give you the answer, right? So 60 will be taken as the answer. Find me the lowest mark of the science. What should be the formula? Lowest mark of the science. Yes, lowest mark for the science. Yes, Tadara. Very good. That's the answer. Rusira, that's the answer. Very good. Ranima, very good. That's the answer. Not low. There is nothing called low. Methula. Low kela ekak nae. Min kela tiyena puta. Right? Equal min C12 colon C14. Binadi, your answer is correct. Tisat, Anjana, Malindu, Pramod. All your answers are correct. Very good. Right? Very good. So what's the answer? Equal min. Then I have to give the correct range, which is C12 colon C14, right? Then you can take 20 as the minimum value. We can see it is 20, the minimum value. Okay, now to find the number of students, right? Now I can use the count function, but you have to be very careful when you are using the count function, right? I'll tell you why. Look at this. Now, I told you that count function has some specialty with it. So if I say count, now you can see my student names are over here, A12 to A14. So if I give that range and complete my function, look at the answer that I'm receiving. I'm receiving 0, right? There is no incorrectness, no any errors inside my function. I said count A12 colon A14, right? The problem is the function that we are using. Now the count function is only counting the values. Now Saman, Kumara, Nihal, those kind of belongs to the label category, right? Or the text category. Count is not capable of counting the text, right? Count can only count the values. So if we want to find the number of students, it's better we give a range which has the similar range as the names. So that means instead of this, I can illustrate this particular range. It will give me 3, or else this particular range, or this, or this, or this, right? Likewise, I can refer any type of one, but not this range. That is what you need to remember. Count is capable of counting only the values, right? So the cells which contain a value means it can be a number, it can be a date, it can be a currency value, it can be a fraction value, it can be a percentage, it can be a scientific notation. However, it should be a value, right? How we can recognize the values? Values are right aligned by nature, right? Labels are left aligned by nature. So the things which are right aligned can be counted by the count function. Is that clear, people? Right. Okay. Very good. So tell me, if I need to find the number of subjects, what should be the answer? What should be the formula? What should be a suitable formula? Tell me one. Number of subjects. If I need to take number of subjects. Very good, very good, very good, people. Yes, Rusira, your answer is correct. Dilni, your answer is correct. Rannima, B11 wala tiyenne duwa subject එක නම count කරන්නේ binadi, you got the same problem, right? Because count will not count the cells which contains a text, right? So you have to find a range which is equal to that name range. මේ name range එකට සමාන වෙන range එකක්. Values තියෙන වෙන range එකක්, right? Yeah, Rannima, Binadi, did you get the point? Tedara, your answer is correct. Metula, your answer is correct. Dihan, I'll come to your question. Inupama, your answer is correct. Ranuja, your answer is correct. Pramod, Tedara, your answers are correct. Ranuka, yeah, yes, that can also be taken. Hold on, Ranuka. D12. D12 is going to be a problem, Ranuka. D12 කිව්වොත් රණුක අපි count කරන්නේ මෙතන ඉඳලානේ පුතේ මේ දෙන්න විතරයි එතකොට අය count වෙන්නේ it should be B12 නේ B12 colon E12, right? So to take the number of subjects, it should be equal count what you have to give something similar to this range. This won't give you the answer, definitely, as you can see. So you have to give something similar to that range. So if you give this, it will give you the answer. If you give this range, give you the same answer. If you give this range, give you the same answer. Right? Okay, very good. Right, so that's it. That's all about the functions. So you know what are the functions, you know how to use that, you know how to write the function in 4 different ways, right? So as a homework, I need you to try this particular exercise at home, right? There is an exercise, a very simple one, this activity in page number 209. I'm going to ask the questions, right? So you don't need to write the question, just read the question, put the question number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and write the correct answer. That's all, right? You don't need to copy this table and all these things into your book. Only the answers I need, right? So don't forget 209th page activity. All right. Okay, so any questions regarding the functions? If you don't have any, we can move to the graphs, the very simple one. And people, I want you to remember, next week you are going to have an exam, right? So I was repeating this for a few weeks now, right? So next week you are going to have the exam, right? So you get prepared, right? You are going to have a MCQ paper. I'm going to send you the MCQ paper to your WhatsApp group. If you are not connect with the WhatsApp group of the class, please send me a message, right? I'll send you the telephone number again for everyone, right? Right, and like questions will be there by all the units we have done so far, right? Including Excel, right? So just go through, right? If you want to refer or refresh your things, refer the videos. It's a 40 question paper, like the MCQ paper with 40 questions. 1 hour is given. So after the 1 hour, we are going to discuss that, right? Okay, so get ready for that, people. So I'm moving to the graph part, right? So to do that, I'm going to get rid of these things, right? Just for the moment. Okay, now when it comes to the graphs, people, in Upama, the lessons we have finished so far. So like from lesson number 1 to the Excel lesson, instead of the 5th one, we haven't done the operating system. So instead of the 5th one, from first lesson to the Excel lesson, including the Excel, right? Okay. Right. Now, people, when it comes to the graphs, it is very easy for us to maintain a graph, and there are many things that we can do using the graphs. But according to our syllabus, we are just asked to teach how to generate a simple graph, right? So if you move to the insert, if you move to the insert tab, inside the charts group, you can see many different charts inside it, right? So inside the insert tab or the insert ribbon, under the charts group, you are given a many different charts. Now you can see here the column charts and the bar charts, right? And if you click here, you can see line charts, the 3D line charts and 2D area charts, 3D area charts, right? And pie charts, different kinds of pie charts, right? And there is a one called donut as well, which cannot be eaten, right? And there is something called scatter charts. From here, we can draw some graphs that you are learning through the mathematics. We are going to draw something like that, right? We are not going to go these bubble charts and all these things. So majorly these things, column charts, bar charts, and the line charts, pie charts, scatter charts, right? Those kind of things. Now, it is a very nice facility that is given by the Excel when it comes to the charting part. So to create a chart, we only need to know a very few things, right? And it can be like we can create many advanced charts through the Excel, right? Excel is something like a programming language. If even though we are not, though we don't go for that extent, right? Excel is capable of lots of things, right? But here, according to our syllabus, generating a chart is easy. So first thing that we have to do is we have to consider what kind of data that we are going to put inside the chart. Now, if I want to display the marks of my students in a chart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my students and the marks of the students with the subject headers, right? So this is the criteria, or this is the data area that we want to put into a chart. So once I select the specific data with the specific columns and rows, the simple thing that I have to do is go to the chart type. I'm taking a column chart. So as you can see, when I'm moving my mouse pointer to a particular chart, it is already populated, right? If I click on this, it is confirmed, right? So let me collapse the ribbon so you can see it clearly. Can you see this? A nice and easy chart which indicates the values of this. See, can you see the maths, science, ICT, English subjects are being separated. So Saman's values are indicated by blue color. Kumara's value are indicated by orange color. Niha's value are indicated by gray color, right? Simple as that, right? So, and again, the marks are being staked from 0 to 100, right? And if you want, you can change the chart title over here, like saying term test marks, right? And if you want additional details to be added into the graph, you can use this plus icon, but it is not available in all the versions. It is there in 2019 one, as I remember it was there in 2016 as well, right? And again, if you click this chart, you can always find there are two new tabs which have been populated to format the chart, which is the chart design tab and the format tab. Now, when you go to the chart design tab, at the very left corner, you have something called add chart elements. So once you click that, you will be getting a list. From that list, you can add additional information to your chart. If you want, or if you don't want a horizontal and a vertical axis, you can get rid of those, right? So if I click on primary vertical, it will be gone. If I click on primary horizontal, that will be gone, right? If I want, I can get rid of those. If I want, I can keep those. And if I want the axis titles, so for like for my x-axis, if I want to say these are subjects, so I can have that facility and say these are subjects, right? And if I want to put the axis title for my horizontal axis, indicating marks. So here it goes, it is marks, right? So likewise, there are many different applications that we can do. Like if I want, now this is coming very handy, right? The data labels, which indicates like how big your column is, right? So it clearly indicates like what is the marks for the maths for someone, science for someone, likewise, right? So likewise, you can do a lot of changes using the chart design, right? And as well as you can change the chart type if you want. That can be done in the same ribbon. To your very right end, there is a button called Change Chart Type. So you can change this very chart into a different one. If you want a line chart using this, you can choose a line chart. So it will show you a line chart. See, Saman's values are in blue color line, Kumara's value are in orange color line, Nihar's in gray color line, right? If you want to change this into a, let's say, a bar chart, it's going to show you the bar chart, right? It's very easy. The only thing that you need to have is what are the data that I'm going to use for this? Then what is the chart type that I need to use? And when it comes to the pie charts, the story is getting a little differ. Tedara, no, there is no any kind of limitations, right? So if you are like finding your data properly, you can plot it onto the chart. It doesn't matter, right? It's about the data set, right? All data එක හරියට manage වෙන්න ඕනේ. Advanced පැතිවලට ගියාම කියන අපිට දැන් සමහර වෙලාවල් වලට අපිට එනවා අපිට මොවමනා chart එකක් හදාගන්න for so on those cases we have to think a little how we are going to generate this, and again we have to learn the logic in your syllabus. It is no such thing is there in your syllabus, but when it comes to the practical world we have to think about it, right? And I want you to show something regarding the pie chart. Now if I change this term test marks, the chart type into a pie chart, look closely what happened. So I'm taking this as the pie chart. Can you see that? The term test mark is given, math, science, ICT, English is there. So like, what are these things, right? This term test mark, these marks, these are belongs to the summon. See, 10 is for maths, 20 is for science, 30 is for ICT, 70 is for English. Now that's the specialty of the pie chart. Pie chart is not capable of illustrating a series of values. Instead of that, it will just go on a one specific row of a data set or one specific column of a data set, right? Remember that. So pie chart is not suitable to illustrate many different data from many different criteria, unlike the column chart and the bar charts, right? But again, it is very good tool. Pie chart is a very good thing to illustrate one specific thing with regard of the percentages, right? So you can do the changes using this plus mark or using the chart titles over here. And when it comes to the pie charts, the facilities are a little bit limited, right? But still, you can go with its aspects according to your requirement, right? So that's about that. Those are the things about the charts. And there is another chart called scatter chart, where we can use to draw the graphs which we are used to draw in your mathematics subject. And I'm going to illustrate that to you on next class, right? And remember, by next class, first what we are going to do is the exam, right? So we do the exam, we discuss the paper. If you got a chance, we will go with the scattered diagram, and we are officially end with Excel now. This is all that you have to talk about, right? So in case if I need you to give some note regarding the charts, if it needs, I'm going to give you some. So we are done with the lesson, right? So once after we're done with the exam, we are going to start the 5th lesson, which is operating system, which is a little bit theory related one, right? So you may get in things to write, right? So let's see, right? So what can be done, okay? All right, so for today, I'm going to end the session from here, right? So thank you very much for staying with me. And I hope you had an idea about the charts and the functions. So by next week, we are going to do the exam. So be prepared, people, right? Get ready and be there early, right? We will start the session sharp at 5:45. And we are going to do a 1-hour paper. And then we are going for the discussion, right? Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Have a very good night. And I'll see you on next week with the paper, right? Okay, good night, people. Have a very nice, very good night, right? Okay, right. Okay, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. No, Tedara, it's an offline paper doer. So I'm going to send you the paper to the WhatsApp group. So by downloading it or like by referring it from your phone, you can do the workings on your book and you can mark the correct answer. It's MCQ paper doer. So then I'm going to show you the marking scheme. Then you are going to mark it. Then we are going to discuss the questions. Yeah, it is an MCQ paper. Yes, yes, definitely. It is an MCQ paper. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Have a very good night and stay safe, everyone. Yes, stay safe. Yeah, Lithira, you can refer the recordings. Hold on, Puta, I will post the recording and come and show it to you how to refer those things. Just give me a second.